more onto the breach, dear friends.
And one plane ticket. Lucky man. I've never been to Istanbul.
You've never been to Istanbul? No. Well, the moonlight on the Bosphorus is irresistible.
Maybe I should get you to take me there someday.
Istanbul had many names in the past, and the two most common known ones were Constantinople and before that Byzantium. It's the largest city in Turkey with a population of 13 million. Getting into Istanbul is easy peasy for New Zealanders due to the Anzac relationship. Just roll up with your passport, no visa required. The 23-kilometre journey from the airport is only $3 per person by train, or $35 by taxi. We took the train, of course. This huge city has 39 districts, and like most tourists, we stayed in and spent most of our time in the old part of Istanbul, Sultanahmet. Recent construction of the Marmaray railway tunnel in 2005 unearthed even older settlements dating back 9,000 years. This discovery was so important that the government delayed the construction of the tunnel by 4 years to allow examination of this settlement by experts. Our chosen hotel was just minutes walk from the main sites, so day one consisted of a leisurely stroll of the old city while getting used to the 40 degrees heat, the 9-hour time difference and the food. The James Bond movie, From Russia with Love, was filmed in Istanbul, so it was a great opportunity to see some of these locations, one of which was the Basilica Sistine, constructed in the 6th century by the Emperor Justinianus. It's underground and covers 9,800 square metres and is supported by 336 marble columns. Water was transported to the cistern from the Belgrade forest, 19 kilometres away. There are several hundred ancient cisterns under the city of Istanbul, but so that we didn't contract cisternitis, I only visited 2 and Lillian only visited 1. Just a few hundred metres away is the Bergerak cistern. Built in 330 AD, it has over 1,000 columns. Tea is complimentary in the cistern bar, and this cistern has the advantage of having normal toilets.
The day after we arrived, I thought it was possible to go to Ephesus for the day. So after thinking about it, we booked a trip for me to go the following day.
It was unusually hot this time of the year, over 40 degrees, and I found this USB fan setup most fascinating.
After that very nice experience, we continued to explore the city. Turkey, like every country, has a distinct architecture. I thought it was interesting how many wooden buildings there were and how they accommodated new buildings around the old. We also visited a number of mausoleums belonging to prominent sultans and their families. For example, this one houses the sons of the sultans, in other words the princes. Others house the whole family of the sultan, with the male members having a white turban above their coffins.
It was unusual to see the English and Arabic versions of the Quran in a mausoleum. I picked up the English one and it fell open at the account of the Garden of Eden, an area we were to visit in another 36 days. Here's a reminder of just how hot it was at this time. Outside the mausoleum by the Blue Mosque, you can see the perspiration on someone's t-shirt, all over the back and under the armpits. Yummy. Other prominent citizens also have their own memorials, and these are dotted all over the city. To avoid mausoleumicosis and memorialmitis, we visited less than 10 of these in Istanbul. On day 3, Lillian went to Ephesus, so I spent most of the day wandering around the old city walls. Here are some of the sights. fallitis sufferers, we're now going to switch to buildings. For some of these buildings, expressions such as nest or invest and renovator's dream come to mind. And finally, if you're still awake, various street scenes. Points of interest such as the cisterns, the AyaSofya, the Blue Mosque, the Hippodrome and so on are just minutes walk from each other. First, let's take a look at the AyaSofya, so put your history cap on. Emperor Justinian had the AyaSofya built as part of his efforts to restore the greatness of the Roman Empire. Finished in 537, it reigned as the greatest church in Christendom for 900 years. Then Mehmet the Conqueror had it converted into a mosque, and so it remained until Ataturk in 1935 proclaimed it as a museum.
On entering this massive structure 1500 years ago, Justinian exclaimed, "Glory to God that I have been judged worthy of such a work. O Solomon, I have outdone you."
Entering the building today, it's easy to excuse Justinian's self-congratulatory tone. The interior, with its magnificent dome ceiling soaring heavenward, is so sublimely beautiful that on seeing it for the first time, we were quite literally stunned into silence. Then on August 19, 2010, the AyaSofya was one of the locations for the filming of the Stephen Lillian Chong movie, Istanbul, with guest appearances of James Bond in the film From Russia with Love.
We are now approaching the most interesting corner of St. Sophia, including these two great red porphyry columns stolen and brought from Egypt. In front of them, the alabaster urn was brought from Bergerak, a famous historical city near Smyrna. Dates back from the Alexander the Great period. About 1648, Sultan Murad IV brought it from Bergerak. It was used as an ablution fountain. It contains 1,000 liters of water. Right after the ablution fountain,
And blah 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 blah. There are heaps of artifacts here, and the upstairs galleries house the most impressive of the mosaics centered around Jesus Christ. These have been sitting here for 900 years. From the gallery, you also get amazing views of the building. It's astonishing how they could have built such a massive structure like this 1,500 years ago. The Bosphorus Strait divides Istanbul and connects the Black Sea to the Marmaray Sea, which in turn connects to the Mediterranean. It's because of this that you see the big cruise ships come into the Istanbul port. Our cruise on the Bosphorus started by taking the tram from Sultanahmet and getting off at Kabatas and walking up to the Dolmabahce Palace. The Dolmabahce Palace is closed on Thursdays, so we moved on to the ferry terminal next to it.
This is the Bosphorus, and that is the suspension bridge.
Is it? Very.
There's the bridge, there's the palace.
When it was completed in 1973, the Bosphorus Suspension Bridge was the 4th longest in the world. At present, it's the 16th longest. This is the Bosphorus River. If we keep walking this way, we'll get to the Black Sea.
Really?
Yeah.
But I didn't bring my tongs.
Well, it's only 50 kilometres we have to swim.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
No, sweet.
No, it's less than that. It's just up the road. Ferries are comfortable affairs, clean seats and refreshments available. When travelling on this section of the Bosphorus, you get good views of the Blue Mosque, the AyaSofya, the Topkapi Palace and also the Dolmabahce Palace. A trip up the Bosphorus can cost anything up to $100 per person, but the easiest way is to take ferries at $1.50 per person per ride. As in the AyaSofya, the movie Istanbul, starring Lillian, was also filmed on the Bosphorus with guest appearances from Mr. Bond.
I can see everything Em said about you is right.
You like my shorts and jandals too, James?
Lovely view.
It was until you stood there.
Smile.
James, those pickup lines are so old, they're a bit like your camera, they belong in a museum.
Actually, on the Bosphorus, the film crew of the James Bond movie didn't have a lot to smile about. A rented boat filled with cameras capsized and sank. We decided to explore Karakoy, which is on what the locals call Asia side of Istanbul. As a new area of the city, it didn't hold a lot of interest for us. Just the usual stuff, a ferry terminal, an arts market, the mother of all shoe shine booths, and a heap of shops. After some thrill-seeking, it was time for a coffee break. Something really different this time.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see anyway.
What is this thing?
I don't know.
But there is something actually got familiar this time, and that is a couple of lattes. See, the first time we've had latte for
2 months?
yeah, more than 2 months.
Try it and see if it really is one.
Hmm.
I'm suspicious seeing it came out of the Nescafe machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fluffy Nescafe. But that's okay.
Hmm.
You can imagine.
I have to imagine it. Very bad imitation of a latte.
It doesn't have a lot of flavour, does it?
No. No wonder Starbucks is making a killing here. After this unusual coffee break, it was time to head back to Sultanahmet. There are heaps of ferries on the Bosphorus, the service is great and tea and coffee can be purchased for a pittance. After arriving at the Imanu ferry terminal, we ate the famous fish sandwich for $4, then headed for the tram to our hotel.
Az indirim